So you'll find that in corporate America, most people avoid the truth like the plague, like it's a virus of liability. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. The topic today is the truth in corporate America. How people approach the truth, the general attitude towards the truth in corporate America, all of that. Just a few observations from my experience. So number one, what you'll notice working in corporate America is the truth is sort of hard to find. Something you'll notice at a company is that no one really says the word truth or true at a company. It's rare you'll find someone asking, what is the truth, or is this true? Because it's almost seen as a rude or taboo question. The reason is that there is a polite underlying assumption that everyone is already telling the truth at all times. So to question the veracity of anything is seen as an attack in a way. So you won't really find people actually questioning what's true. It's a game of taking everything at face value. So you'll find that in corporate America, most people avoid the truth like the plague, like it's a virus of liability. Most senior people at a company, not just in rank, but in seniority, most people who've been in corporate America for a while, they know the game. They know you're not really supposed to tell the truth because it can get you in trouble. So most people in corporate America, knowing that their bosses don't want to hear the truth, will just omit the truth at all times or avoid it, or avoid any sort of conversation that implies blame. A good example of this is in finance, where instead of saying something like, our numbers are full of holes and we have to make a lot of things up for this to make sense, we instead use language like, we made some high-level assumptions in order to build this business case. Boom. In that way, you sort of mask the truth. That happens all the time, not just by finance, but everybody in a corporation. Everyone's doing this. Most people at a corporation learn to omit the truth. You have leaders who don't want to hear it. They want to remain blissfully ignorant of the truth, and thus their underlings learn to never tell the truth. So what happens when you start to tell the truth aggressively all the time? Well, sometimes you run into strange situations. So for example, I was working on a project to validate the accuracy of one of our pricing systems. More or less, some senior leaders wanted to verify that our pricing matches our contracts. Really quickly, as I was getting into this project, I quickly learned that our pricing system had nothing to do with the contracts. In fact, many of our customers didn't even have contracts. Like, our pricing was just based on sort of handshakes and winks and verbal agreements established long ago. There was no paper documentation for many of these deals, which is very disconcerting. And as I'm doing this audit, I report back my findings to senior leadership, and I basically say that, hey, there's a ton of holes in these numbers, and I can't validate all of this pricing to be accurate. And to do so would take me a ton of time and resources. The senior leaders came back to me and said, we want all of this pricing audited within the next week. By the end of the week, I expect all this to be done. I explained that that was not possible, given the breadth of price points to validate. But they insisted they wanted this done by the end of the week. So what happened is I audited as much as I could, but my audit was only covering around 5% of the total price points, transactions, what have you. And I handed in the audit at the end of the week, and I said, this is the best I can do. Here it is. So far, most of these have passed my audit, but it's only 5%. The sample size is only 5% of the total. And of course, the leaders just said, okay, fine, this is good enough. Awesome. And they just swept under the rug and just ignored it from that point on. So the point is that These things happen. And there are a ton of people who are ducking the truth left, right, and center. And again, it's not as if they have a philosophical disagreement with the truth, but in most cases, the truth is that there are a ton of issues that are too complicated to solve quickly and without additional resources. And most senior leaders don't have time to do that. They don't want to dedicate their people to do a full scrub of any of their internal processes, and they don't want to hire out contractors to come in and audit and clean processes up. In many cases, they just say, well, this machine seems to be running decently well. Let's just let it roll. And I guess sometimes that works. But when things start to go wrong and those machines break down, then everything goes haywire. And that again is why people avoid the truth like the plague at corporations. It's a game of dodging liability. And once you realize that, you understand why everyone is always lying at a corporation. It's a way to protect one's own skin. These senior leaders have to maintain a level of distance from everything. They have to not know everything, because if they did, well, they're liable for everything. And in a way, I guess it's easier to delegate that responsibility to the underlings. If something does break, like in a massive company full of processes that no one really understands and people are afraid to really dig into, if something breaks, it's easier to just fire a couple people who were quote unquote responsible and then hire external resources. It's a much harder sell to actively clean up systems that you have before they break and to take time out of the normal programming to do so. But anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on that, and appreciate you guys checking in. Let me know what thoughts you have. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.